Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sunil here. Can you hear me? Please confirm in the chat box. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Nekwa. Thank you very much. Okay. So let's stop the chat. So what did we discuss in the last session? We have discussed about orchestration. We have discussed about orchestration. We have learned how to perform load balancing. We already have learned orchestration is all about creating containers in a distributed environment. That's the best definition what you can provide it. Creating containers, running containers in a distributed environment is called as what? Orchestration. So Docker Swarm is an example for an orchestration tool where in which we can perform load balancing. We can perform scaling of containers, performing rolling updates, handling failure scenarios. These are the advantages of orchestration tool. We already have created a distributed environment. I hope you remember we have created one manager machine and 2 worker machines. Please have a look at the AWS. I already have logged into AWS cloud. As you can see here, sorry. We have created manager, worker 1 and worker 2. One minute. So let's wait for the machines to get started. Yes, Krishna Rao. Good evening. We cannot hear you, Krishna Rao.
I'm audible?
Yes, you are audible now.
Good evening, Sunil.
Good evening, Krishna. How are you doing?
Oh, fine.
Okay.
Actually, we created three EC2 missions.
One manager mission, worker 1 and worker 2.
Worker 2 for Docker Swarm.
Yes.
Actually, manager is creating one AWS account and remaining 2 we will create.
It should be within the AWS account, within one AWS account. Okay.
Not separate account.
Not that means it should be within a specific VPC. Okay. Not to a different account. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Good. Okay. So we already have created 3 missions. Quick recap of what we have done it. We have named it as manager, worker 1, worker 2. First, in all the 3 missions, we have installed Docker, and in one additional mission, manager, worker 1 and worker 2. In one additional mission, we have installed Swarm. So that mission we have named it as manager. Whenever you install a Swarm, I hope you remember it generates a token command. That token command we have executed on worker 1 and worker 2. Okay, so these workers will join the manager. So finally, there will be 3 nodes. Okay, so that's what we have seen it in the last session. We have discussed about load balancing whenever you create a service. Quick recap, whenever we create a service, we mentioned the replicas, and the replicas are nothing but the number of containers. You have seen practically the containers are using different hardware. That's exactly how load balancing happens. We have discussed about handling a failure scenario. Okay, we have discussed about handling failure scenario. If you delete a container, automatically a new container gets created. Swarm always makes sure the current state, whatever the distributed environment is having, should be the desired state. Desired state you are defining in the form of a command that you many replicas you wanted. According to a desired state, always it makes sure that the current state is same as desired state. That was the 2 examples we have discussed. We have discussed about load balancing. We have discussed about scaling, performing rolling up, handling failure scenario. The 2 advantages which you have to still experience is scaling of containers. When the business requirements increases, the number of containers should be scaled up. We will be experiencing soon how to scale up the containers and how can we perform rolling updates. These are the 2 more examples we should experience it practically, so that we will understand the complete understanding of orchestration. Okay. So let's discuss about scaling containers. Okay, so I think the 3 machines are running. Manager, worker, and worker 2. Yes, very good. So I want to look at only the running containers, and this is the way we can look at only the running containers. Let's connect it to the manager machine. Always Docker Swarm related commands. Obviously, you have to execute it on the manager machine. You're right. I open the terminal. Sorry. I need to change my network. Deep link. Are you sure you want to connect? Let's move on. Understanding one more advantage that is called as scaling of containers. Anuj, can we have a talk? Cannot hear you. When business requirement increases, try to understand my difference. When a business requirements increases, obviously we should able to increase the number of replicas. Similarly, we should able to decrease the replicas when the business requirement decreases. That's called scale up and scale down. And all the scaling happens should happen without any downtime, isn't it? That's what finally we don't want any downtime. That's the final objective. Without any downtime, you can scale up and scale down the containers. Let's experience it. Let's experience it. Okay. Can you hear me, Anuj? Looks like you have some issues with your audio settings. Okay, let's move on. I want to start Nginx with 5 replicas. That means 5 containers. You want to start Nginx with 5 containers. Later, I want to scale the services, scale the service to 10. I want to increase the number of containers from 5 to 10. So let's start first how to create a service. We already have learned in the last session how to create service. We'll be again creating a service. So to start with, I want to create service with how many replicas? We want to start service with 5 replicas. Okay, please have a look at the command. Docker service create. We already have experienced this command, which helps you to create a new service. When you're creating a new service, it's always good to provide a name to the service. Hyphen name is used to provide a name to the service. I'm naming it as app server. That's the name of the service. That's the name of the service. Using the image Nginx. You know that using the image Nginx. Nginx works with the default port number 80. I'm mapping it to 8080 hyphen replicas 5. I am creating an Nginx service with how many containers? 5 containers. So let's first do this part. Service created. You have created a new service. What's the name of the service? App server. If you want to know how many containers are running under this particular service, we already have explained this command. Docker service PS follows the service name, which helps you to know how many containers are running. You can also see how exactly the containers are running on a distributed environment. You can see here work manager, worker 1 and worker 2. You can see how exactly the containers are running. There are total 5 containers are running. And you can see how exactly the load is getting distributed. Manager machine is taking 2 containers load, worker 1 is taking 2 containers load, and worker 2 is taking 1 container load. So you can see the containers are distributed among multiple hardware machines. We know this. But the point is you should be able to increase the number of containers. That's what should happen, isn't it? If the business requirements increases, you should be able to increase the number of containers. Look at this. Are you creating a new service or you are scaling an existing service? We are not creating a new service. Service is already created. The name of the service is app server. Am I right? Yes. We are not creating a new service. We are scaling the existing service. Nekwa. Can we have a talk?
Hi, Sonia.
Please look at this command, Docker service scale. Docker service create, which helps you to create a new service. We are not creating a new service. We are scaling an existing service. So command, what you need to use is Docker service scale. Mention the service name which you want to scale. The name of this service is app server. The current containers are 5. You know that I'm increasing it to 10. So when I run this command, what happens? The number of containers will be increased. We are scaling the containers. The current status of the containers are 5 containers. We are scaling to 10, isn't it?
Yes.
Done. If you see the number of containers, so previously we used to have 5 containers, and now you can see the current status of the containers. We have 10 containers. Clear, Nekwa? How can we write a command to scale the existing containers? Okay, using the service Docker service scale. Clear, Nekwa?
Yes, it's clear.
Thank you.
Thank.
Yes, Wakar.
Sir, good evening.
Good evening.
Sir, how I will identify that it's time to create a new container? I mean, scale up.
Okay, how can we identify that it is the right time to scale the containers, isn't it?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, do you know that we will be monitoring the infrastructure using a service called as CloudWatch? Wakar?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
yes,
we have a service called as CloudWatch where we can monitor the hardware configuration. What is the current CPU utilization of the existing EC2 machines?
Okay.
What is the memory utilization? How many network packets? Everything we can monitor it. When you see that when the graphs are high, let's say if the CPU utilization is 80% or RAM utilization is 80%, Wakar, at that point of time, you have to provide
scale up.
Got it?
Yes, sir. So that CPU utilization monitoring is under DevOps part, right?
Cloud infrastructure provider provides you. Okay,
Okay.
that's a AWS service.
Okay. Okay. Yes,
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. I want to scale down. The command is not new. The same command, whether it is scaling up or scaling down, Docker service scale and the service name equal to 10. Here, service name equal to 2. This is called scale down. Yes, you have scaled down. Now, if you see the number of containers, the containers, you can see it as only 2 containers. Clear? Wakar, how can we increase the number of containers at the same time? How can we decrease the containers? Isn't it, Wakar? So that is using, we are not creating a new service. We are scaling an existing service by using the command called Docker service scale. Okay, let's move on. We have experienced about load balancing. We have experienced about load balancing. We have experienced about scaling of containers. We have experienced about handling failure scenarios in the last session. The only thing what is pending is performing rolling updates. Let's learn how can we perform rolling updates. Before performing rolling updates, okay, let's learn how can we remove a node from the swarm. How can we remove a node from the swarm? Right now, how many nodes we are having in Docker node ls? I hope you know the command. We already have discussed all these commands. Docker node ls. To see the number of nodes, we have 3 nodes, 1 manager node, 1 worker 1, and worker 2. Fine. If you want to remove a node, if you want to add a node, how to do it? We already have seen in the last session. I hope you remember how to add a node. First, you need to create a new EC2 machine, install Docker on it. And then you need to take a note of the generate token command and token command that you need to copy it and add to the node so that the node joins. So the token command, we need to run it on the new EC2 machine. The new EC2 machine will be added as a node in the swarm. By using the token command, we can add it. If you want to remove a node from the existing swarm, if you feel that there are too much hardware, we don't need these many number of hardware, so number of services are very less. So you can remove a node. In 2 ways, we can remove a node. Look at this. In 2 ways, we can remove the node from the swarm. Manager can drain the node. Node itself can leave. Like in an organization, if an employee wants to leave, manager can ask the employee to leave, or employee himself can take a better opportunity to leave the organization, isn't it? In the same way, manager can drain the node, or node itself can leave the swarm. Let's experience in both the ways. How can manager drain the particular node? Okay. Docker node ls, we have just executed that command. Docker node ls, we have 3 nodes. Observation, all the 3 nodes, look at the availability is active. All the 3 nodes are active. The status of all the 3 nodes are ready. It's ready to take the load. If your manager thinks that a particular node is not required, the manager can drain the node. How can manager can drain the node? Docker node update hyphen availability drain, and mention which node you want to drain. I want to drain worker 1. Okay, so this is the command to drain the node. Mention the node you want to drain. I want to drain worker 1. When you drain the node, that particular node, if it is taking any load, every node takes the load, right? Isn't it? We have a number of services. Every service, the load gets distributed. So one particular node, if one particular node is already having some containers load, and if that particular node is getting drained, that existing containers will be distributed to other existing nodes, available nodes. Okay, so let's do that. I want to drain this particular node. So manager is draining this particular node. This particular node is drained. Now, if you see Docker node, Docker service, I think MyDB service is running. Or as worker 1 is drained, which one we have drained? You can see worker 1 is drained. Some containers which are running in worker 1, you can see wherever worker 1 is there, containers which are running in worker 1, it is shut down. Okay, containers which are running in worker 1, that is shut down. Clear about this? You can see here. Okay, so that's how the nodes will be shut down. And now if you see node ls, previously all the nodes were active. Previously all the nodes are active. Now manager has drained a particular node, so you can see worker 1 is in drain status. It does not know, it will not take any more load because it is not available. This particular node is not available. Like this, a manager can drain the node. If manager wants to activate the node again, anyways, the same command we can use it with small change, which helps you to activate the node. Vakar, Look at this, the same command avail -hyphen availability. Instead of using drain, I'm using the keyword called active. So this particular node will be again active back. Let's experience it.
So, sir, in the
1
background,
minute,
that
1 minute,
device.
1 minute.
Okay. Okay.
Let's come back. Let's make the node active. Yes, the node is now active. If you see Docker node ls. Now, if you see Docker node ls, you can see all the 3 nodes are active. Okay, like this, as per the management, if the manager decides, manager can drain any particular node and activate any node as per the requirement. Clear, Vakar?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, your question.
Sir, I'm asking that in the background, this node basically left the group of Swan, right?
This node is
Left the group of Swan.
that means left the swarm.
Yeah, left the swarm.
Let's say worker 1 is left the swarm. Yes.
Yes, sir. So this instance is shut down or in?
It's not shut down. We are not.
In the background, it's
We are
running,
not doing it at EC2 machine level. Okay. We are all doing at the container level. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yes, sir.
Are we running anything in the EC2 dashboard? We are not. So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
EC2 machine, as per the AWS, it is running. No difference on it. We are dealing it from the container perspective, got it? Docker perspective.
Okay.
So that particular node does not take the load, Vakar. Okay,
Yes,
because
yes,
it
yes.
is drain status. Okay, clear? Yes. So whenever it's always good to drain that particular node in case if not required, and then activate it if it is required. Okay, clear, Vakar?
Yes, sir.
Hmm?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. What is the other way? Node itself can leave, isn't it? Not only worker manager can drain, node itself can leave. So how to experience node? Right now you can see all the 3 nodes are active, all the 3 nodes are ready. Now let's experience how exactly node can leave the swarm. If you want node to leave the swarm, obviously we need to connect from the node perspective. Let us connect it to the second node.
Employee himself give resignation.
Yes. Something similar.
Your worker sounds like Vakar.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Okay. I have connected to node. The name of the node is worker 2. Node can leave. Docker swarm leave is the command which will be executed on the worker machine so that the switch to root user. This node, Vakar, you can see the node has left the swarm. So go back to manager machine. Docker node ls. You can see worker 2 is down. Okay.
Only
It's
2
down.
nodes.
Correct. Only 2 nodes are active. Okay. How to see list of all the services? We have created few services. In the last session, we have created one service. How to see list of all the services? Docker container ls to see list of all the containers. Docker service ls to see list of all the services. Docker node ls to see list of all the nodes. Docker image ls to see list of all the images. So we have many commands and service ls to see list of all the services. What is this 8x5 and all this? This is the actual state and this is the desired state. Okay. Okay. So because it will take some time for the new containers to be created because the node has left the swarm. I want to remove all the services. Docker service RM, service name 1, service name 2, service name 3. I think app server, MyDB, and web server. Done. Let's move on. So the only thing what is pending, Vakar, is performing rolling updates, isn't it?
Yes.
Rolling updates can also be done. So infrastructure migration can also be done without any downtime. That's called as rolling updates. Let's experience how can we do that, Vakar. Okay. Thank you. Yes, Vasant.
Yeah. Sunil, yeah, good afternoon, Sunil. I have 2 questions here. If the manager, the swarm node itself goes down, or it's not able
If
to.
node is leaving the swarm, okay?
No. If there is a problem with the manager node itself, it's not able to communicate with the worker 1 and
when there is problem with the manager node itself, Vasant, if the manager node is having some issues, that means all the services will be down. Okay.
Can't we
Because
make
all-
manager as a high
a
available?
high availability, how to make a manager, how to avoid that kind of cases, assuming Vasant, if there is a hardware failure in the manager machine, in such case all the services goes down, isn't it, Vasant?
Yep.
Because it's manager machine which is all maintaining the services. So for the concept of availability, high availability, this is called high availability, where we will create multiple manager machines. Okay, we'll see it soon, Vasant. Okay.
Okay. And one more question is, Sunil, like when the node gets drained, if it is serving some request, because request comes in
Request in the sense,
milliseconds.
a request is nothing but if it is serving, if it is
Yeah.
taking some containers load.
Yeah, some containers are serving some web request. Let's say
Yeah.
if they
Okay.
comes in milliseconds. So what
Okay.
happens? Will before the terminate
As
all those sessions will close?
as that container is not available, automatically the request will be directed to the available containers.
But
Okay.
if it is in between processing something within a millisecond.
Automatically it gets diverted. End user cannot see that particular difference. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Oh yes.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Clear,
Thank you.
Vasant?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Vamsi Krishna. Yes, Vamsi. Your voice is very, very low, Vamsi. I'm sorry, I cannot hear you. Probably you need to check your mic settings. Maheshwara.
The previously example you are showing that like when you drain the node in the background you drained the worker one node actually, but it was showing manager was also shut down actually. So in the screen it was displaying like that.
No, actually, because of that line, the length of the output is very minimum. So you're getting it in the next line. You feel that particular line is containers related to manager machine. It's not the manager machine. Actually, it's a node machine, Maheshwara. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and again, you the node has left, am I right? The second point you have shown, am I right?
You're right.
The node was leaving the
Swarm.
swarm. So the difference between draining the node and leaving the node leaving is different, am I right? At that time it was
You are
showing
right.
it was
When
status is
there is the difference is
down,
the difference is technical difference. Okay, status differs. Previously it was active, it was down. That's fine. But Maheshwara, the difference is if manager is draining a node, okay, manager can itself again make the node active. Okay.
Okay.
Whereas if a node leaves the swarm, manager, if it tries to make it active, it will not happen. You explicitly manager should connect to that particular node and run the token command so that it will be added to the swarm. That's the difference. Okay.
Okay.
Clear? Are you understanding, Maheshwara, the difference?
Yeah. Got
Okay.
it. Got it.
Yes.
Thank you.
As manager is controlling, anytime it can activate and deactivate it. I mean, say leave them. But whereas if node itself will leave, you explicitly manager should run the Docker swarm join command again so that that particular
But,
node will
background
be
EC2 container will be running. EC2
EC2
machine
level, there is no difference. Okay. This is all at
Okay.
the container level.
Okay.
Yes. Your voice is very, very low, Vamsi. No, your voice is very low, but still I'll try to hear. Explain your question, please.
My question here is, say for example, if the manager is down, why can't the other existing worker node can become a manager and work like that?
When a particular node wants to become a manager, Swarm should be installed on that particular node. Agree?
Okay, yeah.
Docker Swarm is an orchestration tool. Is the orchestration tool installed in a worker 1 and worker 2? No.
No.
In such case, orchestration services cannot be executed. So to avoid that, as other participants has just now asked, Vamsi, to if the manager machine is down, complete services will go down. So to avoid that risk, there is something called high availability concept. In the high availability, what we'll do, we'll create one more manager machine. Okay.
Yeah.
One more manager machine. If one manager is down, automatically one more manager
Second manager
takes up the responsibility to maintain the services. Okay. We will see it soon.
Okay. Also, like when the worker one is down, like why the services under the worker can
Not services. When the work, you're still, again, I lost your voice suddenly, Vamsi. If the worker one is down, if a particular node is down, all the containers which are running on that particular node will be distributed to available nodes. Okay. That's the reason that nodes are shown as fade, because that particular node is not active. Okay, Vamsi. I think I have answered your question. Okay. Let's experience rolling updates. Let us experience rolling updates. The services running on Docker Swarm can be updated to any other version, that is without any downtime. If infrastructure needs to be updated, obviously there in the previous era before cloud, there will clients used to experience downtime. Okay, now there's no downtime. Okay, so that can also be done by using rolling updates. Look at this example. Let's experience the concept of rolling updates. Creates Redis 3 service. 3 service is nothing but Redis version 3 with 6 replicas. Okay, replicas, always when you're creating a service, you mention the number of replicas with 6 replicas. Then update Redis version 3 to Redis 4. Before getting into example, first let's try to understand what is Redis. I hope some of you are already having some knowledge on Redis. Okay, let's have a quick understanding about Redis. Redis is a in-memory data storage. It's something like a small inline database. Okay, it's used for temporary storage, caching. So that's Redis. So it's small temporary database. I want to create that particular Redis version 3 service with how many replicas? 6 replicas to start with. And then I don't want to scale number of containers. I don't want to scale. I want to upgrade the existing 3 version to 4 version, Redis 3 to Redis 4. Okay. First to start with, let's create Redis 3 with how many replicas? 6 replicas, which we already know it. That we already know it. Docker service create, you're creating a new service. Service name can be anything. -hyphen replicas is used to mention the number of replicas. 6 containers, Redis :3. Redis :3. I hope you know the image name followed with the tag refers to version. So first let's create this particular service. Yes, service has been created and using Redis 3 version. If you want to check it, yes, you can check it. Docker service PS followed the service name. The service name was my Redis, you know it. You can see 6 containers are running and using the image Redis :3. So everything is Redis 3 version. Okay, all the containers are running fine. Now client wants to upgrade their containers from Redis 3 to Redis 4. Client wants to upgrade the containers from Redis 3 to Redis 4. Docker service update. This is one more new command. Docker service create to create a new service. Docker service scale if you want to scale up or scale down. Docker service update if you want to update existing service. -hyphen image. When you want to update the service, obviously you have to use finally. Finally, you need to use an image. So -hyphen image, I'm using Redis :4 and followed with the service name which you want to update. I want to update my Redis. I hope I'm very clear with the command. I hope I'm very clear with the command, isn't it, Vakar? Docker service update. I'm
Yes, sir.
using a new image and mention the service name. So when you do
Yes,
this,
sir.
what will happen?
It will upgrade it to 4.
Yes. Total, how many containers we are having? 6 containers,
6.
isn't it?
Yes. In the background process, version 3 will be uninstalled and 4 will be installed, right?
I'll show you what happens technically. Okay, we will experience here. Okay, we can get the information what's happening in the background. The service will be updated. Okay, now look at this. Previously, when you say Docker service PS, you can see number of containers. Here also you can see number of containers. Interestingly, actually we should get 6 containers, isn't it? Okay, Vakar,
Yes.
we should get 6 containers, isn't it? Because you have clearly mentioned replicas as 6.
6.
But if you can see now, we get 12 containers. We get 12 containers. Wherever Redis 3 container, if it is using Redis 3, that becomes shut down. Okay, it becomes stopped. In replacement of it, Redis 4 will be created.
Means new container.
New container will be created. Old container will be stopped. Okay, technically speaking, Vakar, we are not updating the existing containers. I hope you can see we are not updating the existing containers.
just
The existing
creating-
containers will be in stopped state. In replacement of existing containers, new containers will be created. And why this concept is called as rolling updates? Why this concept is called as rolling updates? Because it happens container by container, Vakar.
Yes, sir, yes.
All the 6 containers will not be upgraded at a single shot. No, it's not the case, Vakar. It happens container by container, so that if one container is down, automatically new container gets created and new container starts taking the load.
Load.
Its service is getting continued. So again, second container will be replaced, third container will be replaced. Then the total 6 containers will be replaced and all the containers will be using the latest version. Got it?
Yes.
That is why it is called rolling updates, because it happens container by container. Okay,
Yes.
so we have seen how exactly we can perform rolling updates, and by using a new command called Docker service update. And you can see, you can see your containers which are both running state, the containers which are in shutdown state. Total, we are having 12 containers. Wherever Redis 3 is there, it is very obvious that it is shut down. Next, let's say you want only the running containers to be displayed. If your requirement is, if you want only running containers to be displayed, you don't want stopped containers. So how can we do that? Docker service PS, service name is MyRedis, using such keyword, isn't it? grep is for searching, isn't it? Vakar.
Yes,
so
sir.
I'm using a keyword called shutdown. So when you do that, you will get only the containers which are shut down. Okay. So using grep, you can search for the containers using the keyword shutdown, so that you can see only shutdown containers. -v for inverse option. -v is used for inverse option. If you want to see containers which are not shut down, then you have to use -v option. You can see the containers which are not shut down. In other words, it is running containers, isn't it? Okay, like this, you can also filter and get the containers whichever you want. Okay.
So
So
there is
we
no
have-
use of a shutdown container, sir?
No use of shutdown containers. Definitely, they
So
will
that's
be-
occupying a space. So that
Yes.
will be removed, right?
you can remove it. Docker remove -f. You can take
Yes,
a note of
yeah,
the
fine.
container ID
Mhm.
and you can remove it in case if you want to free up the memory. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Clear. Thank you. Gaurav.
Yeah, hi Sunil.
Hi Gaurav, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Question is, when we update from Redis 3 to Redis 4, Redis 3 will get shut down.
Shut down.
Right? So, it shut down. After that, on running services, then what we will do?
Your voice is actually not clear. After that,
After this, then what next?
finally the users will have the latest version accessed. Okay.
So
This infrastructure is used by the end users, isn't it? End users, rather than going for an older version, they go with the newer version. That's the difference. Okay.
There is
Gaurav.
a no downtime, right?
No downtime. That's the advantage. You're right. Okay.
Okay. So
Yes.
we can use in a
Production environment. Exactly. You can use it in the production environment.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Jayasri.
Sir, why it's showing shutdown in red color?
Generally, shutdown containers are indicated in red color. That's the terminal behavior.
Terminal behavior. Okay, sir. Okay.
So let's move on. Performing rollback, rolling updates can also be rolled back. Well, let's say the client has upgraded the infrastructure, the newer version. When the client has upgraded the infrastructure to a newer version, because of some reason, end users are not happy with the newer version. There's some issues. Application behavior is not perfectly working. Immediately, you want to roll back to the existing status. So rolling back can also be possible. Okay, this is something using the keyword called roll rollback. Docker service update, the command is the same. To roll back, you don't need to exclusively mention the image. Already Docker Swarm maintains the previous versions of the images. And then when you perform rollback, when you're performing rollback, you want to mention the service name which you want to roll back, my Redis. So what happens here is all the containers which are in stopped state. I hope you remember Wakar. So the Redis 3 was stopped, right?
Yes,
When you
sir.
want to roll back, all the stopped containers will be
So shutdown container
will be again running. Okay. Look at this. Now look at the service. Now what's happening? Wherever Redis 3 is there, it is running. Wherever Redis 4 is there, it shut down. Okay. Okay. So in fact, one more copy of the container got created. You can see this is also worker 1. This is also Redis 3, but it is shut down. This is when you're performing rolling updates. This is with respect to rolling back, a new container got created. So like this, Docker service maintains the immediate previous history, and then any point of time you can roll back your infrastructure in the production environment, Wakar, without any downtime. Okay,
Yes.
That's all the concept of 4 advantages. If anybody asks you about orchestration, you should be able to properly project these 4 advantages. One is load balancing, handling failure scenarios. Handling failure scenarios is all about making sure that the actual state is same as desired state. Okay, in case of hardware failures also, if one particular hardware is down, immediately the containers which are running on the particular hardware will be shifted to the available hardware so that the end user finally does not experience downtime of the infrastructure. Next, scaling of containers as well as performing rolling updates. Okay, next, as we already know this, I think we have not seen that practically. If you want to add a new node, right now Swarm is having 3 nodes. Let's say if you want to add a new node. So step 1, what you'll do when you want to add a new node, step 1, you create an EC2 machine first. Whenever you want to add a new node, step 1, you will create an EC2 machine on AWS. Once the EC2 machine is created on AWS, then what you'll do, obviously you'll install Docker first. That's a prerequisite. When you install Docker first, and then you have to run the Docker Swarm token command, isn't it? So we have to run the token command so that the new node will be part of the Swarm. But the token command was generated at the time of installing, initializing Swarm. Let's say you have lost the token command, you can regenerate the token command in the manager mission. At any point of time, whenever you want, you can regenerate the token command so that particular token command will be very handy when you're adding new nodes to the Swarm. So to generate the new command, this is the command which helps you to generate a new token. Docker swarm join. Very important observation, Vakar. Docker swarm join hyphen token, and you want to join new worker node. Agree?
Yes, sir.
This you should run it in which machine? Manager machine.
New machine.
When you run this particular token in the command in the manager machine, it generates a token. Can you see? The token command is generated. This token command, you need to copy it and run it on the new node so that new node will be part of the swarm. Clear, Vakar? How can we add new nodes in future? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Next, to add a new machine as a manager,
Same command.
as
plus
other
worker as
participants as asking a high availability concept, if the particular manager is down, the complete services will be down. So you have created altogether a new EC2 machine and you want to add that new machine as a manager machine. So for that, what you have to do, Docker swarm join token, you instead of keyword called worker, you have to use keyword called manager. Okay, it's a keyword. So this will again generate a token. And this particular token, you should run it on that particular machine so that that machine behaves like a manager machine. Got it? Got it? Vakar?
Yes, sir.
Concept of multiple managers. Got it?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, next. When there are two managers, one will be leader. When there are two manager machines, obviously manager machine should control the services. So which machine will be controlling the services? So the machine which is leader. Okay, if there are two managers, one will be considered as a leader. If there is only one manager, that itself is a leader, isn't it? If there is right now, there is only one manager, it itself is a leader. Can you see the manager status is leader? If there is a second manager, one will be leader. If the leader is down, automatically second manager becomes the leader. So leader takes care of the services. Okay. So decision of which machine should become leader, it is not in your control. We don't need to control it. It is anyways controlled by the Docker swarm itself. So if one manager is down, another manager becomes the leader. This concept is called as high availability. Okay. Next point. Not only adding new machine as a worker, you can promote the worker to a manager. Same in the worker in the organization, worker can be promoted to a manager, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. In the same way, here also we can promote a particular node to a manager. So for example, Docker node promote. When you mention worker one, the worker one will be promoted to the manager. Worker one is promoted to manager in the swarm.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Like this, if you want to demote it, you can demote it. So like this, instead of creating a new EC2 machine, you can maintain existing worker machines. You can promote it as a manager. So finally, container orchestration helps in no downtime of infrastructure. That's the concept of container orchestration. Clear, Vakar?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Thank you. Prasad.
Yeah, hi Sunil. My question is regarding the rolling updates. As we can see that once we run the rolling update command, the other existing containers are shutting down and it is
You're right.
creating
Existing containers will be shut down and new containers will be created with the latest image.
Yes. So will the data will be also copied to the new containers
Exactly.
from the existing?
How the data, the status of the infrastructure will not be lost. It gets migrated to the new container. You are right. Okay, Prasad.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
So much.
Thank you. Sorry. So this is about orchestration tool. This is about orchestration tool. So these are the advantages of orchestration tool. We will also discuss one more orchestration tool about Kubernetes. Not now. We will discuss that later. I want to discuss one more topic related to Docker. That is called Docker networking, which is very, very latest in the market. Latest in the market. So there's very less people know the concept of networking in Docker. So I want to discuss about networking features, which is a very latest feature included in the Docker. So Docker networking, we'll start it in tomorrow's class. Docker networking is replacement of multi-container architecture, whatever we have learned it using Docker Compose. So that is the older version. That same multi-container architecture can also be achieved by using Docker networking, which is more powerful. What is Docker networking? Okay, so if in the interview they know, if they want to ask you about Docker networking, they will check how good you are in the networking concepts with respect to containerization. So you have to know this feature called Docker networking, which is very, very important. So I want to discuss this Docker networking feature in tomorrow's session. Okay, so before ending today's session, any questions? Vasant?
Yeah, Sunil, when we promoted worker to be a manager, so
Yes.
how that Swarm is installed on the worker? They will
If
be-
one particular worker is promoted to a manager, so there will be two managers, isn't it, Vasant?
But
Agree? No,
Docker
there will
Swarm
be
has to be installed, right?
no.
The
Hello?
worker, hello, yes. And the
Yes.
worker one, when we promote, we should have a Docker Swarm installed, right, to manage the.
Yeah, yes, you are right. Docker Swarm needs to be installed. At the
Yeah.
same time, when you are creating a new node, also Docker Swarm to be installed on the new manager machine so that it handles the services related commands. Okay, Vasant, you are right.
But how when we promote without installing the Docker
You will
Swarm?
have issues, so that's the reason we have to first install Swarm in it, and then it manages it. Okay.
So just install and keep it. Don't join any node, nothing
Yes,
like
yes.
that.
Because by
Okay.
default, anyways, manager is a leader, right? So it handles.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Thank you.
Prasad, I'm ready.
Yeah, Sunil, my question I was actually asked about like how this Docker is helpful, like as it is like infrastructure on demand. So I was looking for that answer.
Okay, Prasad.
Because
No, I am giving you. You are doing all this like load balancing and all those. Where exactly it is used, Prasad, isn't it? When we have learned starting with Docker, I was telling that it's all about ad hoc manner, isn't it? Whenever the infrastructure needs it soon, okay, very quickly on demand, Docker helps you, isn't it? That's what. Am I right, Prasad?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
yes.
Prasad, in databases, do you know there's one database called MySQL, isn't it?
Yes.
We have MySQL, Oracle. MySQL is an example of a database, isn't it? Let's say, for example, Prasad, I want to learn MySQL commands. Okay, I want experience. I want to learn MySQL database. I want to create a table. I want to learn select commands. I want to discuss some. I want to make ourselves comfortable with the where clause, constraints, and all this. Okay, I want to do some hands-on on MySQL. Okay, Prasad.
Yes.
Are you following? Now, here, now look at this. Learn MySQL online.
Yeah, W3 schools or somewhere. We can go to W3 schools.
Practice MySQL online. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm taking the first site. Okay. Prasad, the traditional way is we will be downloading MySQL software in a personal laptop and we install MySQL and then we can do it, isn't it? Here, what I can do, I can run the command, I can write a command. I can create a table. Got it? Create table, and when you create a table and then when you press control enter, the query gets executed and then the table gets created. I can insert some rows. That means, did I install this MySQL environment from the scratch? No. This is a MySQL environment provided to the end user as a form of a container. Prasad. Got it?
Okay.
Infrastructure on demand. Okay. Am I right, Prasad? Okay.
Yes,
now,
I got that.
This client Pisa.io wants to upgrade MySQL 4 to MySQL 5. And when the end users are working, but still it gets upgraded. Got it? Without any downtime. Got it, Prasad?
Got it, Sunil.
Exactly.
Yeah, got
Understand?
that. Got it.
Infrastructure on demand. Infrastructure on demand. Clear, Prasad?
Got
now,
it, Sunil.
let's say
Yes.
I am user of Pisa.io. Okay. Okay. Assuming if 100 users directly connected to Pisa.io, because probably the container goes down because infrastructure goes down. Here comes the concept of load balancer. Okay, so they will handle load balancer from the backend by using the concept of containers. So here so and you know the concept remains the same. It is temporary. Anyways, you cannot use this database for years together. Agree? It's always providing temporary
Yes.
environment. At the same time, it is used live. Agree, Prasad? I hope I have
Yes.
answered your
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Now you can relate
Yeah,
all
this is something like.
orchestration. Now you can relate the
Yeah, this
advantage
is
of
something like.
orchestration with respect to this scenario.
Yeah.
Agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Sunil. This is basically like giving the infrastructure to the end user on ad hoc basis, right?
Yes, you are right.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yes.
Got it. Sunil.
Got it. Thank you, Prasad.
Thank you. Thank you, Sunil.
Okay. Thank you. I hope you have enjoyed this training with respect to orchestration. The next thing about Docker is networking. That's for plan for tomorrow's session. Okay. Thank you. And please do hands on. See you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.